Gotmark76 this week, 1990.
Welcome everybody to World Championship Wrestling. I'm your host, Gotmark76. We have a great show lined up for you today, as you saw at the top of the program. Last week, Woman made her overtures towards managing the Four Horsemen, and she was, shall we say, politely declined by the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. We will be hearing, of course, from Sting later on this evening. In this program, we of course start with the Great Muta taking on Shane Douglas. And Shane Douglas getting ready for the U.S. Tag Team Title Tournament. That tournament begins next week here on the Gotmark76 YouTube channel, as the Dynamic Dudes have a date with the Fabulous Freebirds. And Muta with a series of chops in the knee across the chest of Shane Douglas. The Great Muta is only 2 weeks away from Thunderdome. It will be the Gary Hart International of the Great Muta, Buzz Sawyer, and the Dragon Master, taking on the Four Horsemen. The loser must break up for at least 1 year. So that means that there will be no more Four Horsemen or no more Gary Hart International. Now that does not mean that the losers will leave the NWA. That just means that the factions will be no more. Shane Douglas making a comeback here against the Great Muta with a series of chops in the corner, and the Great Muta in trouble for the first time in this contest, as Shane Douglas with a big clothesline takes the former World Television Champion down. Goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3, no! The Muta kicks out. The Great Muta kicking out at the last second. And Shane Douglas staying on top of the Great Muta. He knows if he needs to be in control during this matchup, that the Great Muta is fast. He's someone that we've never seen here in the NWA. He is fast, speedy, he can wrestle you, he can brawl with you. He is one of the most, I would say, special wrestlers here in the NWA, as he clotheslines Shane Douglas over to the floor. Gary Hart picking up Shane Douglas and throwing Douglas back into the ring. Better be careful not to get disqualified. Our main event on tonight's program, the total package. Lex Luger defends the U.S. Heavyweight title against Wildfire Tommy Rich. We will hear from Sting. And of course, we will show the brackets for the U.S. Tag Team Title Tournament, as the Great Muta has an armbar on Shane Douglas, a submission maneuver that Douglas is able to maneuver out of. And a series of right hands breaks the maneuver, and Shane Douglas is out of the move. Muta with a drop kick to the knee of Shane Douglas, and that's one way to take your opponent down. The Great Muta just 2 weeks ago in the Power Hour losing the World Television title to Arn Anderson. And he is looking to get things back on the winning track as he climbs the top rope. Douglas prone on the mat on the outside floor. What does Muta have in mind here? He's eyeing up Shane Douglas. He leaps and nails a double axe handle across the top of the head of Shane Douglas. Muta throwing Douglas back into the ring and climbing the top rope. And I guess Douglas was too close to the ropes to perform an aerial maneuver, so Muta picking up Douglas. Throws him into the turnbuckle. Lining up Douglas. And there's that springboard elbow into the corner. Beautifully done by the Great Muta, who's climbing up to the top rope. Could it be that moonsault? He has Douglas lined up. He leaps and nails the moonsault. It's all academic from here. winner, the Great Muta, on World Championship Wrestling. And here are some highlights from earlier in the contest. Shane Douglas made it a match. It was very competitive. But he was not the same since taking that double axe handle on the outside, and there's that moonsault from the top. And that was all she wrote for Shane Douglas fans. Gary Hart has asked for some interview time, and we will go to Gary Hart right now. So there we hear from Gary Hart claiming that there are more members of Gary Hart International to make it to the NWA, but the NWA has put those contracts on hold. So one has to wonder what is in store at the end of the Clash of Champions. Of course, you can watch it live here on the Gotmark76 YouTube channel on February 10th at 8:05. That will be a live YouTube stream as Mike Rotunda and Flyin Brian Pillman going at it here. And Gary Hart having strong words for the Horseman. He's quite confident that the total package Lex Luger will be winning the World Heavyweight title next week against Ric Flair. He thinks that Ric Flair entering that Thunderdome cage match will not have his mind fully on the match. And I've known Ric Flair a long time. I've never known Ric Flair not to be prepared, but one has to wonder if Gary Hart has a point. It's one thing if Ric Flair loses that World Heavyweight title to Sting at Wrestle War. It's another thing if he loses it to Lex Luger before the Clash of Champions and before Wrestle War. As Pillman with a beautiful maneuver takes Rotunda out to the floor. We already know from our president as Pillman was looking to line up Mike Rotunda. He leaps and he dives over the top rope. Oh, I knew that was coming as Pillman was eyeing up Mike Rotunda. And Rotunda got back to his feet, and Pillman leapt over the top rope and nailed Rotunda, but Rotunda making a comeback. And Pillman now with an open hand slap across the face as Pillman slides back into the ring. I would think Gary Hart is onto something there. I've known Ric Flair a long time, but next week Lex Luger faces Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight title. And if Lex Luger wins that match, he will defend against Sting at Wrestle War on the 24th as Brian Pillman nails Rotunda with a beautiful drop kick. So a lot going on in the next few weeks here in the NWA. The Clash of the Champions, of course, February 10th, in which either Gary Hart International or the Four Horsemen will be no more, as Pillman lining up Mike Rotunda with a right hand. And leaps. Oh, but Rotunda lured him into a false sense of security and threw him down face first to the mat. February 10th, the Horsemen or Gary Hart International will be no more. And then just 2 weeks later at Wrestle War, Ric Flair and Sting will face off for the World Heavyweight title. There's a lot at stake here. There's a lot on the line. Will Flair and Sting be Horseman members come Wrestle War? As Rotunda nails a big clothesline with Brian Pillman. And Mike Rotunda, the former World Tag Team Champion, the former World Television Champion, currently having his way with Flyin Brian Pillman. Flyin Brian Pillman, of course, will be teaming with the Z-Man as Rotunda goes for the cover and the kick out at 1. Pillman will be teaming with the Z-Man in the U.S. Tag Team Title Tournament. That begins here next week on World Championship Wrestling. Rotunda picks up Pillman into the ropes. Oh, and a big clothesline takes Pillman down. And Rotunda throws Pillman into the turnbuckle. Setting up Pillman here with a big body slam. Climbing that second turnbuckle. Could it be that elbow drop off the second turnbuckle? It is! He nails Pillman! Goes for the cover. That could be it. 1, 2, 3. No! A kick out by Pillman. And Rotunda can't believe it. And now Rotunda setting up Pillman. Could it be the airplane spin? Pillman back to his feet. Oh, but a kick by Pillman. An inside cradle has Rotunda pinned, but the referee was out of position. And a kick out by Rotunda. Oh, Pillman had him there. And now Pillman climbing the top rope. Has Rotunda in trouble. Pillman leaps. Oh, but misses a diving handle. An axe handle missed. And a Russian leg sweep by Rotunda takes Pillman down. Now Pillman on the outside, he's in trouble. A block by Pillman. Pillman leaps, and this time he nails the crossbody into the ring. Pillman climbing the top rope. Rotunda in trouble. And Pillman is lining up Rotunda. Pillman leaps and misses a crossbody. Oh, he glanced Rotunda. He missed that crossbody. I think Rotunda saw it coming and charged towards the turnbuckle. But Pillman beating Rotunda back to his feet. A back body drop by Pillman. And now Pillman going up top again. This time lining up Rotunda. Rotunda in his range, leaps and nails the crossbody. Goes for the cover. Referee counts. 2 and 3. And your winner, Flyin Brian Pillman, here on World Championship Wrestling. And Flyin Brian Pillman finds himself next week in tag team action, teaming with his partner, the Z-Man. And the brackets have been finalized. We will have those for you momentarily here. I believe that Pillman and the Z-Man find themselves in the first round matchup with Jack Victory and Rip Morgan, the Royal Family. But here's that crossbody off the top rope, stunning Rotunda and getting the pinfall. Fans, don't go away. When we come back, we have a word with Sting. We'll be right back after this quick timeout. There you hear from Sting, of course, his mind not only on Gary Hart International, but also on that world title match on the 24th at Wrestle War. And I'll tell you what, I've known this young man for a short while now, and there is not anybody in the NWA more deserving of the opportunity that Sting is having. He's a role model to the children. He's done things the right way. He saved Nature Boy Ric Flair last July at the Great American Bash when he was outnumbered by the Gary Hart International. then known as J-Tex Corporation. And Sting and Flair hadn't always seen eye to eye, but it was a relationship that started out with mutual respect, and that friendship has grown to now the point where Sting is a member of the Four Horsemen, and I never would have thought in a million years I'd be saying that. And as you heard Sting say, he feels like once in his life he's in a family. And those words, they hit a nerve with me. I know that he, growing up, spent a lot of time in the gym and preparing and training to become a wrestler, and I really believe that he says what he means, that the Four Horsemen are like a family to him. And I know that he's honored to be challenging for the World Heavyweight title, but that man right there, Lex Luger, if he, well, regardless of if he gets through Tommy Rich or not this week, next week we'll have an opportunity at Ric Flair's World Heavyweight title. So Lex Luger looking to win the World Heavyweight title next week against Ric Flair, and he wants to be the one to defend against Sting at Wrestle War. And there he is, of course, from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing 255 pounds, Wildfire Tommy Rich. And his opponent from Chicago, Illinois, weighing 275 pounds, he is the United States Heavyweight Champion, the total package, Lex Luger. And Lex Luger, of course, a date with destiny, right here live next week. We'll have that world title opportunity against Ric Flair. Jim Herd made the announcement just last week. He named Sting as the #1 contender, but said that Lex Luger deserved a shot too. So Lex Luger will get the first crack at Ric Flair. And if Lex Luger again can win the world title next week, then he will defend against Sting at Wrestle War. Anything less than that, and Ric Flair will face Sting at Wrestle War. But will Sting and Ric Flair still be members of the Four Horsemen? They have that Thunderdome cage match on February 10th against Gary Hart International. As Wildfire Tommy Rich with a big right hand and a charging clothesline takes the total package down. Wildfire Tommy Rich, a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, looking to add the U.S. title to his repertoire. Up and over goes Luger. Up and over goes Luger again. Luger wisely holds onto the ropes to stop the momentum, but a backbreaker nonetheless by Wildfire Tommy Rich. And Wildfire Tommy Rich in control. He had an opportunity at the U.S. title back in November at the Clash of the Champions and fell just short. It took Lex Luger and his feet on the ropes to win that match. And Luger now firing away in a belly-to-belly suplex. Up and over goes Tommy Rich. And Luger with a knee to the back. But Tommy Rich making the comeback, working the arm of the total package. And Rich staying on top. Up and over with a power slam. I don't know why he didn't go for the cover there. Had Luger in trouble. But Rich firing away with a series of right hands. But oh, now Luger. Up and over goes Rich. And Luger now making a comeback. Oh, and a kick to the back by Luger. Going for the cover. Referee counts one, and a kick out of one by Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich finds himself in the U.S. Tag Team title tournament. We saw that graphic earlier in the show. He and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert will be taking on the Samoan SWAT team in the opening round of the U.S. Tag Team title tournament. That match will take place next week. And Tommy Rich could be U.S. Heavyweight Champion when that match goes down, as Luger now working the neck of Wildfire Tommy Rich. Oh, and a running clothesline takes Tommy Rich down. Luger now working the neck of Wildfire Tommy Rich. Rich trying to position his body, and does. He sweeps the leg and takes Luger down. Oh, but Rich going for a knee, caught by Luger. Up and over goes Rich. And now Luger going for the cover, looking to retain. 1, 2, and a kick out of 2. And Rich barely got out of that one, and Luger now maybe prematurely celebrating to the fans by throwing his fist in the air. Setting up Rich with a big forearm, has him, and locked in. The torture rack in the center of the ring. Can Tommy Rich maneuver out of this maneuver? He cannot, and Tommy Rich has submitted to the torture rack. Your winner and still U.S. Heavyweight Champion, the Total Package Lex Luger. And he heads into next week's World Title match with a load of momentum as he successfully defends the U.S. title against Wildfire Tommy Rich. Here are some highlights from earlier in the contest. And Lex Luger looking to win the World Heavyweight title next week when he takes on Ric Flair. And wait a second, Luger going to the outside. What's he have in mind here? He has a steel chair. Come on, man. He won the match. Win with grace. He's going to attack Rich with a chair, but wait. Dr. Death in the ring grabs the chair from Luger. And Dr. Death saving Tommy Rich from a chair shot.